My brother, my sister, what a thing. Ah, yeah, 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 yeah. Now, I want to say thank you so much to Manasseh Azure, right in the African History class. We appreciate you and we love you. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you. We appreciate you. Ras Otufona to follow Tuja. Thank you so much for joining us. Ras Osaje for Dua Bill, Tindan Doro, Goma Doro, Yenzor Bill.
Yabo!
I see you, Kwame Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining us. I also see the real Nima, you deportee. Thank you for joining us. I see you, TJ, all the way from Cat City. Daddy Bosco, I see you too. Thank you so much, Chucky Popke, for joining us right in the African History class. We love you and we appreciate you. This is the African History class. Now, if your name has not been mentioned, feel no way. We will certainly mention your name before the end of the class. Thank you so much, TJ. And thank you so much, Black Lion, the General. We appreciate you and we love you. This is the African History class. Today we're talking about a Muslim man, a serious black activist by name Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And Khalid is spelled Khalid. Abdul Muhammad. That is his photograph. And everybody can see this is the face of a serious man. He's more serious than this face. Khalid Abdul Muhammad was originally born Harold Moore Jr. Harold Moore Jr. Harold Moore Jr. was raised by his aunt. He was born on the 12th day of January in 1948 in Houston, Texas. In fact, and he was raised by his auntie. Carrie Moore Van was her name. And she took care of him right there in Houston, Texas, where he attended the Bruce Elementary School and also went ahead to attend the E.O. Smith Junior High School and an all-black Phyllis Whitley High School right there in Houston, Texas. After graduating from high school, our hero for today, Khalid Muhammad, went to Dillard University in Louisiana, where he was known as Harold Van, to pursue a degree in theological studies, but he did not graduate. At this time, he ministered at Sloan Memorial Methodist Church. And in 1967, when our hero, my brother, my sister, was only 19 years old, he was initiated into Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Later, Moore transferred to Pepperdine University and earned his bachelor's degree there. Today, we are talking about Khalid Abdul Muhammad. His story is about to get thick. In 1970, my brother, my sister, 1970, when our hero, my brother, my sister, was only 22 years old, whilst attending Dillard University, he joined the Nation of Islam, which was then under the leadership of Elijah Muhammad. He changed his name from Harold Smith or Harold X, then to Malik Rushadin. He became a full-time Muslim. And he was put under Minister Louis Farrakhan to be trained and also to obey and learn. My brother, my sister, he was an active recruiter. He recruited a number of people into the Nation of Islam. He was an avid preacher, and he was so deep in the things of black people. in 1978. Our hero was exactly 30 years old. My brother, my sister, Rushadin, as he was called, was appointed Western Regional Minister of the Nation of Islam and later of Mosque number 27. And in 1983, Minister Farrakhan named him Khalid after the Islamic general Khalid ibn Walid, a follower of the Islamic prophet Muhammad, calling him the sword of Allah because he was very sharp when he spoke and he knew too much for a 30-year-old. My God. See what happened now? Just 1 year after he was named Khalid ibn Walid, the sword of Allah, Muhammad had become one of Louis Farrakhan's most trusted advisors in the Nation of Islam. He traveled to Libya on a fundraising trip where he became well acquainted with that country's leader, Muammar al-Gaddafi. His decision, my brother, my sister, to become a Muslim was a very justified one. He had seen so many atrocities meted out to black people, a lot of who at the time were Muslims, those who lived in his neighborhood. He was so dedicated to Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. He served in the mosque and he also went out there as a national spokesperson for Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. My God. A federal court convicted him in 1987 when he was only 39 years old, my brother, my sister, of mortgage fraud and sentenced him to 9 months in prison. After his prison term, he returned to the Nation of Islam, becoming Farrakhan's national advisor in 1991. But 2 years later, something interesting happened. Our hero for today, Muhammad Khalid, gave a speech. And you can see him standing here with other members of the Nation of Islam, standing very tall. He was a man who never smiled. Nobody ever saw his teeth. He was a very serious member of the Nation of Islam. Very brutal. Hear me now. 1991, he became the official advisor of Louis Farrakhan. 2 years later, in 1993, he gave a speech at the Keene College in the Union Township of New Jersey, in which he referred to Jews as bloodsuckers of the black community and labeled the Pope as a no-good cracker, and advocated the murder of any and all white South Africans who would not leave the nation, subsequent to a warning period of 24 hours. The United States Senate and United States House of Representatives both voted overwhelmingly to support resolutions condemning the speech. Farrakhan responded by publicly repudiating Muhammad's speech. However, Minister Farrakhan specified that he opposed the tone of Muhammad's speech whilst acknowledging the truths in it. Despite this, Muhammad's remarks also resulted in not only Congressional Black Caucus members distancing themselves from the Nation of Islam, but also the CBC chairman, Kwesi Mfum, ending his relationship with the Nation of Islam. And in September 1993, a few months after this speech, Mfum announced a covenant between the Nation of Islam and CBC members to work together on strengthening the black community after he had invited Farrakhan to address the Black Caucus annual legislative conference. My brother, my sister, Khalid stood alone. Hey, the Nation of Islam had removed him. And in 1994, the following year, Muhammad appeared on the Phil Danaho show. He participated in heated arguments with Jewish audience members, and explanations of his public statements were made, and he stood firm. My brother, my sister, our hero for today was shot by James Bess, a former Nation of Islam member, after he spoke at the University of California, Riverside on the 29th day of May in 1994. He survived the shooting. Muhammad himself believed the shooting was a part of a conspiracy to end his life. My brother, my sister, he appeared on a very, very popular show. And that show, my brother, my sister, was the Donahue Show, which was a very popular talk show in America, which Farrakhan himself appeared on. My brother, my sister, and when he appeared on that show, he spoke his mind, and he spoke his blackness. He also spoke the Nation of Islam. He also talked about Islam. My brother, my sister, this was the Phil Donahue Show. The Phil Donahue Show. I'm going to play you a little bit of that so that you get to know exactly what we are talking about. The Phil Donahue Show. It's a long thing, but I'm going to play just about, a few minutes of that so that you will get to know exactly what our hero for today here said at the show and the tone he spoke in. This is the African History Club.
Yabo!
Well, I do apologize for the quality of the tape. It's very, very, very poor. I do wanted to play that for you. In fact, I wanted to play.
Let's see what's on.
All right, man. It looks like we have had it working now. All right, so listen to the tape now.
Have a seat. Thank you. How are you? How are you? This is Khalid Muhammad, former national representative of Minister Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam. Mr. Muhammad is the man who made so many of the front pages of America's newspapers with a speech at Kane College, which so many people called anti-Semitic and a lot of things. At the very least, racist. You remember the comment? He picked up the Pope's dress, and let's see what's under that dress. Here's what you said about Colin Ferguson, the man who shot a Jamaican black male who shot 6 people on the Long Island train. Mr. Muhammad speaks.
Where they set black inmates up in these jails and penitentiaries, and in particular there in Nassau County, and pulled all the black officers out and the black inmates so they could jump on Brother Colin Ferguson because they were mad with him for catching the Long Island train and killing all them white folks. I love Colin Ferguson. I have no official position, so I can say I love him.
You love a man who randomly killed 6 people on a commuter train?
I love Colin Ferguson just as much as the masses of white Americans love General Schwarzkopf, General Westmoreland, General Patton, General MacArthur, and Eisenhower. America awards her killers, and they get ribbons and stripes and bars. I'm sensitive to the pain and suffering of the loss of life on that train, but I'm one of the rebellious slaves. And so when black people stand up out of pain and suffering and frustration, I understand after 500 years.
You all You talk about the response of some African Americans to, for example, the book which attempts to prove that the Jews are involved in the slave trade. I'd be happy to let them see that. You talk about when white folks can't defeat you, you said in your speech at Kane, they'll always find some Negro, some boot-licking, butt-licking, buck-dancing, bamboozle, half-baked, half-fried, sissified, punkified, pasteurized, homogenized nigger that they can trot out in front of you. I would ask you, Mr. Muhammad, is Jesse Jackson a boot-licking, homogenized nigger?
To the best of his ability, I believe he tries every day to do that.
This is 3FM.
Here you are mocking Jesse Jackson at a speech, I believe this is Howard University. Roll the tape.
Oh, boot-licking, buck-dancing, scratching, shuffling, messy Jesse Jackson. You keep. I am a somebody. I am a somebody to keep hope alive. I am a somebody. I don't rightly know who the hell I am, but I am. Somebody.
This is 3FM.
Yeah. Are you an entertainer, or are you a committed person to black people?
I'm so glad you asked that question. I believe that the liberation and salvation of the black nation must be brought about by black people gaining a thorough knowledge of self after our 500 to 6,000 year Holocaust, where we have lost over 600 million. And so I believe that that education process must be a process of two steps: inspiration and information. So I seriously give information, but black people are a people of rhythm and spirit, so I also give inspiration.
From your speech at Kane College in 1960, Chief Luthuli, the head of the ANC, received a Nobel Peace Prize, you reported to your audience, reminded them, for nonviolent struggle. Yeah. Just like Mandela just received it with F.W. de Klerk. How could you stand with your oppressor and your enemy and receive the Nobel Prize for nonviolent struggle? You do not support, then, Nelson Mandela's strategy in the struggle to free black people in South Africa?
Let us first of all be very clear here, Phil. Nelson Mandela is my brother.
So
he is
Jesse
a member
Jackson.
of the family, and so is Jesse, and Jesse is a very brilliant man. We just want him to return home and stop being used by the enemy and the oppressor against his people. Now back.
You are the voice of Khalid Muhammad, defending everything he said. He was a force to reckon with. The Nation of Islam kicked him out. The one-time very powerful confidant of Louis Farrakhan. Now he was with the new Black Panther Party. After being stripped of his position as the Nation of Islam spokesman, Muhammad became the national chairman of the new Black Panther Party. And on May 21, 1997, he delivered a heated speech at San Francisco State University in which he criticized Jews, white, Catholics, and homosexuals. In 1998, Muhammad organized the 1 million youth march in New York City, which attracted an estimated 6,000 participants, even though he expected 1 million people to come. Only 6,000 came. New York Mayor Rudolph Giuliani denied the organizers a permit, calling it a hate march. A court ruled that the event could go on, but scaled back its duration and size. At the conclusion of the rally, just as Muhammad appeared on stage to speak, the demonstration was interrupted by a low-flying police helicopter. And Muhammad alleged that this was aimed at frightening and intimidating black people. He also alleged that that was the signal for more than 3,000 police in a riot gear, including some mounted on horseback, to come in and disperse the crowd. In response, he asked the people, black people, to attack the police and beat them up with rails and to shoot them with their own guns seized from the police. Thousands were arrested. 30 officers and 5 civilians were injured. Mayor Giuliani said that the march turned out to be precisely what he predicted. Filled with hatred, horrible, awful, vicious, anti-Semitic, and other anti-white rhetoric, as well as extortions, yes, exhortations to kill people, murder people. The speeches given today should never have taken place. My brother, my sister, but he forgot to add that what caused it all was the low-flying helicopter. My brother, my sister, Muhammad himself had 5 children, including Farah Gray, who grew up in Chicago's South Side. Now, although Gray saw his father only during vacation out of school, that is, and occasional visits, he credits Muhammad for inspiring him with confidence. Gray rose from poverty to become a successful business entrepreneur and did not join his father's political activities. We will find time and talk about Farah Gray. Oh my God, such a powerful man. In 2001, 22 years ago, Muhammad died suddenly of brain aneurysm in Atlanta, Georgia, at the age of 53. He was buried in Ferncliff Cemetery in Westchester, in New York, Westchester County, near the grave of Malcolm X. Today, my brother, my sister, we see a very, 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 very passionate black man. A black man who had gone through a lot of atrocities. A black man who suffered terrorism. A black man who had had enough. A black man who might have been extreme in 1 or 2 cases. A black man who stood for his race. A black man ready to take the bullet for his race. He died. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Oh, Papa. Onenyamin Kowate. Papa Waebi. Yay, Khalid. He was such a fearless soul. He didn't care where he was. He walked without bodyguards. He spoke his mind. He survived 1 shooting. He died of brain aneurysm. May his body, mind and soul rest in perfect peace as we remember him today on Eid al-Adha Day. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Oh, Papa. Onenyaminko. Onenyaminko wate. Yay, Khalid. In the burden of knowledge, I ask you, now that you know what we do, be an any ole mini oba fe yen zunda kagane mezaka yine. Ye papa ngoboka ya nfifia ye nyanu kai na wo. Bana enwe be den lele anjima singa be konne. Lele anjima singa be re.
Tu bavi, tu bavi.